Hi everyone, welcome to the Glasgow Clubbing Podcast. My name is Soban.
My name's Nick.
And today we're very pleased to welcome Paul Njie for episode 7. Paul, welcome onto the Glasgow Clubbing Podcast.
Nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me, guys. Nice to meet you over the table.
Yeah, absolutely. So Paul, just first of all, just tell us a bit about yourself and some of your early musical influences.
So, obviously DJ Paul Njie, DJ'd around Scotland for a very long time. So probably say about 40 years plus, easily. Early music influences of Bob Marley, definitely your Kool and the Gang, your Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think else, your just like your Lovers Rock, which is kind of reggae, slow, kind of jam type thing. Some disco music, Diana Ross, all that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff my parents used to listen to when we were in the house. My dad always maintained and buying a nice hi-fi in the home. So we always bought music, and I actually remember going buying 7 inches in the Barras, believe it or not.
I remember that as well.
And then obviously
What was the first record you bought?
Do you know, I can't even remember.
No.
I can't remember. But just things like that. So I was always around music, always listening to music constantly. And never thought I'd become a DJ when I was listening to music. Used to listen to the radio quite a lot, but not Scottish radio at that time. It was a radio station called Radio Luxembourg.
Yeah.
Back in the day, they had a show called Pirate, the Disco Mix Show, and it was on about 11 o'clock at night or midnight or something like that. So I'd be in my bed, handheld radio, listening to all the American imports and stuff like that. So that's how my music...
What age would you have been then, Paul?
I'd probably say about 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say then, therefore, your mum and dad had quite an influence on you in terms of musically?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, and my brother as well. I've got an older brother, and he used to to buy a lot of stuff as well, and I'd just be listening to that. But just my influences just came from home, listening to music, in the house and stuff like that, and listening to the Disco Mix Show and Radio Luxembourg.
Yeah.
Where
did you stay?
Stayed in the West End, North Kelvin side. Grew up there.
Well. South Maryhill?
South Maryhill, I went to school, primary school in Maryhill, went to primary school in North Kelvin side, went to a secondary school in Maryhill.
And you told me the other night, so your mum and dad are from Gambia, is that right?
Yeah, Gambia, the west of Africa.
And they came over when?
When mid-60s, mid to late 60s or late 60s, they came over.
And Glasgow was where they wanted to come?
Well, I had an uncle, and this is from obviously what I've heard from my mum speaking and stuff like that, and my dad talking about it. One of my dad's best friends was over here. He was studying, electrical, and he was in Stowe College, and he was writing to them saying it was, it's good over here.
Sunny Glasgow.
I know. And then, but the thing is, my mum and dad came from a very good family, a good, family back in Gambia.
Right.
It was, I would like to say well off. In terms of, third world countries, so that's probably the best way I could put it. So even my mum, she was a school teacher in Gambia, and my dad was an accountant for a general store. So, and then they ended up here, and that was that. Yeah.
Oh.
So growing up, did any of what was it? Well, I can remember because my dad had a business on Great Western Road, so I kind of grew up there. It was, was there anything that influenced you around in the area, music wise? Was there because it was not till later on in life. Well, later on, maybe in my teenage years, if I'm being honest with you. But those times, I was too young to go to bars and clubs. No, but I just mean but there was record shops more. Record shops were everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
They're few and far between now.
So there was one in Maryhill Road, I remember. Used to go into, I can't remember the name of the record shop, and then obviously DJ career, 23rd Precinct, and West End Records. They're quite important. And then well into my DJ career, you're buying music from London, you're phoning up the, say like some Uptown Records in London, and they're playing the tunes through the phone, and you're listening to it, and I'll take that one, and we just post it up type thing. But you were getting a lot of promos from the record companies.
Yeah.
So you were getting the music well in advance.
Yeah.
You know, and playing it well in advance to the public, and then next thing it breaks into radio, and then it goes onto MTV, and then it's a hit type thing.
So, like, when did can you tell us some of your early clubbing experiences? So, when did you first? Can you recall when you first went to a club? Or
yeah, I remember the first club I went to was a club called Joanna's in Bath Street. And do you remember that one? No?
I was never in it, but I remember.
You're hearing of it. And then, but the one that kind of stands, comes to the front of my mind was Ultratech in Sir Street.
Yeah.
So it was on Circle Street, but it was one of the side streets, and we were about maybe 16. It was one Christmas and New Year, and one of my cousins was up he was studying in Bristol, and my dad was like, "Oh, you can go, it's Christmas," So some school friends, we all went, and we managed to get in, because it was obviously, you were worried, if you were going to get in or not, and stuff like that, but we all got in. So that was the time when Marvin Gaye had the hit Sexual Healing. Yeah. Giving my age away. But, so, around those kind of...
What was Ultratech like? Because I know it from the name.
Yeah.
I can remember...
It was just a commercial club. It was just a commercial...
It's a good name, but it's very 80s.
Yeah, very 80s. It had lasers, big light, big sound system, big capacity type thing.
Where would it have been like now?
So, I don't know if you remember where the Bank of Scotland... the Clydesdale Bank used to be at Bath Street.
Yeah.
Just to be side lane.
Yeah.
I think Waterson's, that's where Ultratech was, but you went in the sideway type thing. It was around about that area. But the club that totally blew my mind was the Warehouse.
I remember the Warehouse.
That was the one that definitely... I remember going again one Christmas with my brother, my big sister, and my uncle, and I got in. Yeah. Must have been about 16, 17. And see, the thing about the Warehouse, there was a wee door hatch that this head steward used to open up and look and see if you were all right. And if you're not all right, you just say, "You're not getting in, I'm sorry." You could get away with that in this day and age. But that club was just special. It had Clydeside, yeah. Where St Andrew's Cathedral is, this side street, Dunlop Street.
Right, yeah.
So, and I remember just seeing just so many good-looking people, from guys and females, and it was all nice cars, all parked outside. It was like pure champagne lifestyle you would see back in the 80s type thing.
Yeah.
And and it had the best sound system you would ever hear.
Yeah.
I don't even think there's a sound system that touches it to this day. Because I remember
the sound system being good.
Yeah, it was very, very good, very crystal clear.
Yeah.
Oh, just unbelievable. And I remember after being in that place and, walking away from it and thinking, wow, I thought about that place for weeks.
So what year would that have been then?
Man, my memory's not so good about years and stuff like that.
Mid-80s maybe?
No, I would say...
Earlier,
a wee bit earlier, just a wee bit earlier.
And what was the music?
So it was all kind of soul, funk and jazz.
Yeah.
It was like you'd be talking about your Phyllis Hyman, How to Love Me, your Sister Sledge, Thinking of You, your Grace Jones, all those kind of tracks, Olivia and Rose, trying to think why I pull up to the bumper, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And there was Shagan, that's been mentioned quite a lot on your podcast. Yeah, he was the main man there.
So you said, was it Michael Modlin? Was
Michael Modlin owned the Warehouse? Yeah, and
he owned other things, didn't he?
The Marty Gras as well.
Right next door.
Yeah, next door. So he believed that nobody can compete against him. At that time, he opened up a club right next to his main club.
Takes some balls.
It does take some, balls.
Seems like there was a lot of venues in that area.
There was at that time.
What was across the river?
So you had Panama Jacks.
Panama Jacks across the river?
Yeah, Panama Jacks. It used to be, I think it was called Manhattan's before my time. But Panama Jacks, I remember Panama Jacks was another classy place. Had a great DJ in it called Raymond Daverin, who could mix like unbelievable. Very, very good at mixing. But I must say, mixing isn't the be-all and the end-all of a DJ's career.
No, absolutely.
And a lot of young people do base that on that.
Yeah.
It's about reading the crowd and entertaining the crowd and giving them what they want. The selection, the music selection. But Raymond was a fantastic DJ. So was Shagan, was an unbelievable DJ as well. Then you had Nicky Karanki, who was at Henry Africa's. That was at York Street.
Which was down. There was so much
down that way. Yeah, it was so vibrant. It's all gone. You had a pub called Maxwell Plums back in the day. It was very vibrant, I know. Yeah. And then you had, what else? You had Hollywood Studios. So that old Clydeside area was vibrant for clubs back then. You know, and these were places I kind of started learning my trade a wee bit, because I used to get friendly with the DJs and, you know, play the lights and help them, you know, take requests off punters and, you know, keep them company and stuff like that, and just watching what they were doing.
So did you when you started to go to these clubs, did you very quickly want to start to play music out, or
no?
What
didn't even cross my mind. So I used to go to the venue, which was a night where, you know, there was like a lot of ethnic minorities went to it, which is now G2, okay, and so it's Garage. Yeah. And the promoter was a guy called John Manu. He was basically a family friend. My dad knew him quite well, and any big kind of African wedding, he would be the DJ type thing, you know. So John was a promoter this Saturday night, and it was quite busy, and there was one DJ leaving, there was another DJ coming in, and he said to me, he said, would you like to learn? And I was like, aye, why not? Never thought anything of it. I was like, aye, why not? So I remember the first Saturday, it's like, okay, come next Saturday at 9 o'clock and we'll give you an introduction to the DJ. It's a guy called Nigel. And it was all kind of like reggae, soul, disco. You're talking about going back to, you'd be playing things from the Thriller album. Want to be starting something Michael Jackson, you know, there was a reggae record that was massive at the time called Winston Groovy, something on the sides, and, you know, I couldn't remember, your Lionel Richie All Night Long would have been big back then, so it's all the big disco hits and your reggae and your Bob Marley stuff and all that. So kind of was learning with Nigel a wee bit, but then George Bowie's dad owned that. George Bowie still owns it, to be honest with you. I think he just leases it to, you know, whoever's in the garage. And Donald McLeod, obviously. So his dad used to come in and he was liking what I was doing, and he said to the manager, who was a guy called Alec Rankin. I was getting mixed up. I'm thinking about the guy from The Associates. You know, so he said to me, okay, no, sorry, let me reverse that. So what happened was I was learning for a while, and then it was Christmas Eve, and the main DJ, Nigel, broke his arm. So when I came in, they needed somebody like that to me. You're in. That's like Christmas Eve. I'd been only learning for about 6 months, you know. So I managed to pull it off, no problem at all. And it was like from 9 o'clock to about 5 o'clock in the morning myself. You know, so the main DJ left all his records, and I knew where everything was, and just played it and just done it. And then Alec Rankin was like, how do you fancy doing this yourself? You know, we like what you're doing, we like your attitude, we like your hunger and stuff like that. And, you know, Alec became like a father figure to me. You know, he was the one that was encouraging me, saying, you can make it in this industry. You've got what it takes. And it was like, I was young then. I must have been about 17, 18 at the time. And and then I used to go during the day to the venue and practice. You know, practice just, you know, obviously playing records and talking on the mic and stuff like that.
So was it mixing at this point?
No.
I didn't think so. It gets a bit early.
It was kind of on just starting. There was only a few DJs in Glasgow could do it properly, like sort of your Nicky Karankis, your Raymond Davrins, your Shagans, and all that. And John Courtney was a guy called John Courtney, played in Chippendales, which was in Clyde Street.
A lot of the tracks would be extremely difficult to mix. Like,
yes.
You know.
And I know why you say that, Nick, because obviously it was a real drummer playing the drums. But now it's all like electronic, so it's a lot easier. You know, so you listen, because a live drummer could go off key or something like that, and then you miss a beat, and you know.
It's a good point, actually.
So I speak to some young DJs and like, they hear me mixing disco, and they're like, wow, you're quite good at that. You know, how can you mix disco? And because obviously, what we've just discussed,
starts going. You hear it slip out, and then you remember it's a live drummer.
It's a live drummer.
So we'll see the venue. So the venue was called, was it Mayfair?
No, so the Mayfair is is now the garage.
Garage.
So the venue was G2.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not inside, no.
No. They were separate.
They're separate, right.
Still the same entrances as
Right,
you got
okay,
here.
right,
You know.
That's kind of clear now. Yeah.
So Alec was pure, really on my case. I like what you're doing and all that. I want to get you more involved. So he got me in during the week helping the DJs in the Mayfair. And the Penthouse, which used to be away up at Sauchiehall Street, see where the cinema is, the big cinema? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was around that area. So I'd go between those venues, helping the DJs, you know, from Wednesday right through to Sunday, constantly. And then I remember one point he came to me and says, how are you surviving, man? You know, you're buying records, you know, how are you eating, you know, how are you looking after yourself? Because I wasn't at home at the time. And it was tough, but it was just like that guy that was just always there looking out for me. Yeah. And I said to you the other day when we were speaking about things, I said, you know, I don't know where he is. I would love to meet him for a beer and a meal and sit and chat and say, this is what I've done and it's all thanks to you.
Amazing.
So a lot of gratitude to him.
Yeah.
And then the main DJ was Colin Bell. He was another one that was kind of... He wasn't a mixing DJ, but he was more like on the mic, entertaining the crowd, playing the right tunes at the right time.
An absolute lost art, by the way.
Big time.
DJs on the mic. I mean,
big time.
I don't think people, for a younger generation, will just think of like somebody emceeing over the top of it, which it wasn't. Mm-hmm. A DJ that was able to talk basically over.
Introducing records. Yeah.
It was brilliant, you know.
Yeah.
I think it was like.
The period with Alec, is it Alec Rankin?
Yeah, Alec.
How long did that go on for?
It went on for about a couple of years and then he left. Right. And I was like, I was gutted. So then a guy came in called Eddie Tobin. I don't know if you remember him back in the day. He was a big figure in the Scottish clubbing scene. Yeah. And he took over the general manager and fired me. So he was like to me, the music you're playing, God rest his soul, he's passed on, but he was like to me, the music you're playing, you should be knocking on the door of places like the Warehouse and all of that, and Henry Africa's This Is Not For Us type thing. And I was gutted because I was young then. I was like, where am I going to go next? And I was beginning to catch the bug.
So if Alec Rankin's watching this or watches this, then to get in touch then?
Oh, 100%.
Alec 100%. Rankin, if you're watching, please get in touch, because when was the last time you spoke to him?
Oh, Jesus. I bumped into him, I would probably say the 90s. Or maybe early 2000. I can't even remember. Just in Sauchiehall Street randomly. And it was just one of those guys that was always there for me, always encouraging me, always pushing me.
In terms of the music.
The music and just the whole thing about clubbing and giving me advice and, you know, just always looked out for me. There was another guy called Jim Kennedy that DJ'd in the Penthouse as well, who I was kind of, you know, working with, and he was good for giving advice and stuff like that, you know, so really all this gratitude to those guys.
You, from the word go at 18, you basically started to become like DJing and that was it? Yeah,
more or less. I had, believe it or not, I was an apprentice welder.
I
know. I ended up getting fired for that too as well.
That was maybe a stroke of luck.
I know, because I was like, sometimes I was sleeping in for work, you know, because I've been DJing, DJing the night before type thing. But it was away in Dumbarton, but things happen for a reason sometimes, you know.
So where did you go next then? Because you were at a bit of a crossroads.
I was at a crossroads at the time. So I went to kind of Chippendales, which was in Clyde Street, and I don't know if you remember the guy, Mr. Superbad.
Oh,
ex-American heavyweight boxer.
I used to stay, Mr. Superbad used to stay over the back for me.
Wow.
When I stayed in Shorts.
Right.
And Mr. Superbad, just to explain, was a disco DJ.
That's right.
And he was actually in the Sex Pistols film.
What?
He's in the Sex Pistols film. No, it escapes me. Whatever the Sex Pistols film was.
Your brother just told us about him right outside there, right?
Did he?
And he said you need to get him on, so...
I'll find out.
About?
I'll find out.
Aye.
I'll find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Mr. Superbad.
So he had a kind
of... What a great name, by the way.
I know. He was on Clyde as well. He was on Clyde 1. Yeah. And he had like a DJ agency. So one of my mates, Davey Horn, he was DJing for him. One of my school friends, he was actually a DJ as well. And he kind of said to me, listen, I can get you in. So I started doing it with Mr. Superman and Chippendales. And then there was a manager there called Foster Douglas, who was the manager of Tin Pan Alley.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and he went out to work in a place called Hamilton called Rococo Club, which was called Cruise.
Yeah.
So he phoned me randomly one day and said, listen, I've been the manager of this new club. Do you want to come out and, do your thing? And I was like, aye. He says, it's not quite soul, funk and jazz, it's commercial pop. I was like, I'll do it. Aye.
Yeah.
So it was good for me then. Doing that place was very, very popular. You used to get people travelling from Glasgow to come to it.
Yeah.
You get a lot of your footballers, your Celtic Rangers footballers coming to it.
Fancy club, or was it?
Fancy club, yeah.
Fancy.
Did that turn into what's the one in Hamilton?
You're talking about Hamilton Palace?
Yes.
No.
Different place.
Different place.
But I mean, Hamilton Palace had a same thing where people travelled.
Yeah.
This
100%.
This is the difference now.
Yeah.
Where people would travel into Glasgow, but people definitely travelled out.
Glasgow as well to go clubbing. So I remember it was just like, my mates would all jump in a taxi, because at that time I was in the driving. So we'd all jump in a taxi, and there was about 5 or 10 of us in one taxi trying to get back to Glasgow type thing, with girls and everything, type thing. But yeah, it was a nice club. And then it was a guy called, I don't know if you remember, the Centre Court.
Centre Court.
In Suckyall Street. That's going way back, man. I know, way back. But anyway, so it's an Asian guy called Reese Khan that owned it. So he had a share in it with another 2 guys. So I knew him from back in the day as well, and he kind of said, okay, yeah, we'll give you. But there was another guy called Phil Leckie who played soul, funk and jazz, and I was kind of working underneath him. Phil left, and then the owners kept me on, and then I was working away. So then they sold it, and then there was new owners that came in, and the kind of writing was on the wall. They wanted their own guys in and all that, and I was totally gutted. I was devastated. I DJ'd there for a long time, to be honest with you, and it was maybe time to move on, and I think they gave me the push. So I don't think it was down to what I was doing. It was just they wanted something different, and that's all right. But you didn't, at that time when you're young, you don't really understand it, So then I was just going around chapping doors, chapped the door of the warehouse.
Just wanted to ask for that, because you obviously loved the sound system. You said it was the best that you'd heard, and you started to play there. Yeah,
so I started to play there. So it was the manager. I can't even remember, man. Honestly,
but so mid-80s.
I would say late 80s. I would probably even say early 90s.
Early 90s?
Yeah, I would probably say early 90s. Yeah. So Mike Costa was the manager, who was a really good DJ.
Yeah.
Very, very good. I don't know if you know him, Mike Costa.
I know the
name. Know the name. And he was general manager. And Mike said to me, our DJ's going on holiday, so do you fancy filling in? And he's like, these are the dates. So I turned up, done it. And then Mike came back to me after and said, listen, I want you to do it, man.
So what music were you playing then?
We're going back now. So it was just commercial music with an edge again. It was what was popular in the charts, but with an edge, and your soul, you know, your popular soul, your Sister Sledge, your George Benson's and whatever. Yeah. And then it kind of, house was kind of creeping in a wee bit, you know, like your Steve Silhurley and all that.
I think you're in the 80s, honestly.
I think you are, honestly.
I'm thinking you're about, I'm thinking about, it's maybe 87.
Yeah, you're possibly right. My memory's not that good, but going back. But so basically that kind of stuff, and then Michael Maudlin, who was obviously the owner, was liking what I was doing, and then they put me in the Marty Gras on a Friday, and that was kind of my first big break.
Yeah,
really. Marty Gras, right? You told me, you said to me, and sorry, I had a is it a rotating dance floor?
Yeah, it was a dance floor.
Because I want to know what that was about.
It was a dance floor that went up and down. There was 3 floors.
What?
So basically, the ground floor was the main.
Right.
Clubbing area, the middle floor was the entrance, and the top floor they had a function suite upstairs where people could hire it, or they could just, the music would go through the whole floors, you know, the 3 floors.
It'd move?
It'd move.
Move to where, like different floors?
Yeah, different floors. So we'd go from the bottom,
right,
okay, go to the middle, and then go to the top, and then come down.
Really?
Aye.
I don't know any other club like that.
First of its kind in Scotland.
I was never in it.
You know?
No.
Yeah.
And that's wild.
But
is it dangerous?
No.
No?
No. Security would be there, and there was a gate and stuff like that, and it was just like a key, and it's just hydraulics. It was just go up and down.
The booth on the ground floor?
Yeah, the booth is on the ground floor.
And what happens when the first floor goes up?
People are still dancing at the bottom floor, because there'd still be space to dance. There's enough space. It was just concrete.
Right, okay.
If my memory serves me right. But it was a fantastic club, a really good club. And then it was the birth of kind of acid house a wee bit.
Yeah.
So, you're talking, and then obviously your hip house and all that.
Yeah.
Your Fast Eddie, your Tyree, the D-Mob, we call it acid. You remember that?
Yes, of course.
And then your guy called Gerald, your 10 City, That's the Way Love Is.
What was the tunes that when you heard them, it was kind of like wow, that's
was something different.
That blew your mind? Kind of house, kind of acid house stuff or whatnot, or like kind of start of that kind of period.
I would probably say Little Louis, French Kiss.
Aye, yeah.
I would probably say that, or even...
It was very different because it slowed down and it was hypnotic.
Yeah, hypnotic.
It really did stand out from everything else.
But also that time I used to mix, hip-hop. So your NWA, your De La Soul.
Absolutely.
That kind of stuff, your Big Daddy Kane. And
the other night, is it Marcel Jefferson, Move Your Body?
Move Your Body's another broad track.
Grandmaster Flash.
Grandmaster Flash, the message. But the message was like when I was young, when I first heard that, I was like, wow.
But ones like Big Daddy Kane, Raw, I mean, that was, because that's up about 120 BPM. So a lot of the hip-hop was at the same BPM as the new house tracks coming through, which made for just an amazing. Personally, I think the house, hip hop, and hip house
just rolled into one.
It was amazing mix.
Was it Master League, Get Busy?
Yeah.
That was another big tune back then, And then we spoke about MC Kinky. Yeah. Everything starts with an E.
Easy Posse.
Easy Posse, and that
was... So tell us about that then, because you said that am I right in saying then that the Warehouse, because there was quite a few live acts?
Yeah, we done quite a lot of live acts, because that time PAs were big, and that's how a lot of, artists were broken, through doing the club circuit. So... biggest one I rejected, I'll tell you that, you're not going to believe this, Adamski.
Oh, did you?
Aye. I know.
That turned out a legendary gig in the Sub Club.
I know, exactly. I remember, and I was like that. Nah.
So you're supposed to play that?
Well, I was playing it. I don't know what happened. I can't remember the exact story.
He was live. A lot of them were PAs, weren't they?
He was live. A lot of PAs would go around the club circuit.
Right,
so that's how record companies used to break artists.
Right.
But a lot of the dance music and acid house or even into rave, it was PAs.
Yeah, it was PAs.
They weren't really playing live all the time.
It's just a backing track, and they would just sit there with a piano or whatever and just kind of pretend they're doing it. Well, I was offered them, and I never took it.
Right.
And I was like, oh, damn. And
this was for the Warehouse?
Yeah, this was for the Warehouse. And then he got big, and I was trying to get him, and it was phenomenal money then. It's just the price just was crazy. And we were just like, we can't afford it, just leave it. But then we got MC Kinky. Everything starts with an E, Easy Posse, and she came up and performed, and she loved it, absolutely loved it. And I remember it was in November, it was a winter's night, we put it on, the whole town was dead from what we heard, and we were full to capacity, absolutely bursting at the seams. And then I took her out for dinner, me and Majoress, Margarita, and she was saying, what's the scene like up here and all that, and we were like, well, we're trying, this and that. And after performing, she was like to us, this is better than London. The whole place, I'm talking, I could even feel it for the DJ box. The place was just like that.
Yeah.
When she came on, she's like, come on, all you kids. And the place went mental. Went crazy. And then that was it. And then that time you'd have had, Double Trouble in the Rebel MC.
Yeah.
Massive as well. And even if I get him for a PA, it was a lot of money in a city. With
in a city as well?
No, we didn't have them. But they would have been big money then. I'm trying to think who else we had. MC Duke.
Aye.
We had him quite a few times, he passed away recently, I think.
He did, aye. Because Ricky had him at
Street Rave.
First Street Rave one.
Yeah. So that was the kind of acts that were floating about. I can't remember who else we had. I remember, who was it came in? Oh, I can't remember. Oh, memory's not that good. But we had quite a lot of acts that just came in and chilled. We had Mr. Fingers. He came in.
Did you?
He didn't come in. He just came in to just enjoy himself.
Amazing.
Where was he playing? Was he not playing? He must have been playing somewhere.
He was playing somewhere, but I don't know where it was. But he just came in, and I've got a signed, album. Like he signed it for me and all that, Mr. Fingers.
What was the warehouse like in terms of like the setup? Was it pretty stripped down, or was it?
No, so basically you came in through a corridor, and then you had a bar upstairs, and then you had the main bar as soon as you enter, and then you go up a wee flight of stairs, and that's a dance floor, and the DJ box is in the middle, and then DJ box, the whole dance floor, and the DJ box is in the middle. No, square. Very, very square. Yeah. And then you had another bar at the back.
That's right.
Yeah, another bar at the back.
It was raised at
it was raised, that's right, raised at the side.
Easy memories.
Yeah, but that was another place, used to rock, man. Yeah. Used to just pure bounce. What
did you get for that? On Friday, Saturday?
Just punters that want to hear that.
It was...
Young ravers.
Young ravers.
Basically, young ravers, it was just crazy, crazy stuff, but really good. And that's when I started to make my name a wee bit. Right. Around then. And then Tin Pan Alley, Foster Douglas phoned me and, and said to me, I was opening up Tin Pan Alley. Do you want to come play it on a Sunday? Well, it opened up before because I think the Slam guys were there on a Saturday night, and I can't remember who else was there. There was other DJs, but then a Sunday night, Shagan left a Sunday night because he went to London, so he asked me if I wanted to come and do
on, man.
This. I know, it's just his name will always come up.
He comes out all the time. Shagan, yeah.
Shagan used to do a Sunday night, and then he's Foster.
I've heard his name.
So many times.
It's like one of those names just pops up every. You know what I mean? Like it's like Colin and all that.
But you'll probably remember this. Like at the time, everything was like 120 BPM upwards. Okay, but then Soul to Soul came in,
of course,
and it just slowed everything down.
Right.
Everyone was like that, but it was brilliant.
Yeah.
But the Sunday night's packed in.
Packed.
Like everything seems packed back then.
Aye.
Everyone's mobbed and packed.
Sunday night, I think Tin Pan Alley had 3 floors, if I can remember.
Yeah.
All floors mobbed.
That's the Diamond Dolls now.
Aye. Yeah. Basically. So that was a right killer, carrying your record cases up to the top on this day.
Of course.
I was blown out my backside by the time I got to the top. And Foster would be like to me, you want to put some music, Paul? And I'd be like, wait until I get my breath back.
See, at that time, was Sunday nights always popular, even going back to the 80s?
Yeah, because the Warehouse had a night called the Sunday Night Shift, and it was with Shagan.
That's a great name.
And it was like everything was £1.
Everyone
was £1. So that was a busy night.
No wonder.
And it's people would make that work the next day, or maybe did, or not, type thing. But yeah, since then Sundays were always busy in Glasgow. There was always something on. Yeah. And
the crowd for a Sunday night, obviously, for Tin Pan Alley, was just hairdressers and...
Yeah, hairdressers, ravers, just people want to go and dance and listen to new music and type thing and all that, just a case of that. Yeah, it was a good venue, Tin Pan Alley. Yeah. Dick Barton owned it.
Yeah.
And he's passed on just recently.
Yeah.
And Jeff Curry, who passed on as well, he was assistant manager.
Yeah.
Trying to think else who worked there as well. There's plenty, but then back then Glasgow had so many clubbing characters.
Yeah.
I don't think they have them now the way they used to be. You know what I mean? You know where I'm coming from?
Because you all went out every night.
Aye, we did. I used to go out, see, when I was 18, I would go out 5 days, 6 days a week easily.
Yeah.
To enjoy myself, to listen to DJs dance, and just listen to music.
There's something said about that,
Aye.
Like, I mean, I think that's been lost a lot with it's like partying to the extreme. Do you know what I mean? We're really just to go out. You can go out and listen to music. Do you know what I mean? Whether you go to gigs or whatever.
But back then, DJs were breaking records.
Of course,
DJs are not, unless you're making music.
I know.
And
I mean, it was a revolutionary time.
Oh, 100%.
Because all the records you've mentioned, you're like,
they were fresh.
Yeah.
Aye, they were fresh.
So imagine them getting played the first time.
And you're hearing that, and you're walking away, if you're a punter or you're a DJ and you're walking away from that club, hearing that tune in your head, for days, and then you don't know how to source it, how to get it. But these are different times we're living in. People can source these things very, very quickly, even before you.
I know. I mean, imagine hearing French Kiss for the first time.
Aye.
You're like that. What is that? And then trying to get it, which would have been difficult.
It's very hard
because it would have been Lamport,
very hard to kind of hear something like that fresh maybe now, and if you do, you can easily access it and
Absolutely.
get it.
Yeah. I mean, you can't Shazam everything, but
I know,
you know,
but
like,
a lot of things you can.
You can, yeah.
You know, a lot of things you can.
Yeah.
I also think though, like there's probably people had probably more disposable income back then than they do now. Like.
Yeah, I agree with you there, because now an average night out now in Glasgow is what?
150.
100 quid.
More, yeah.
Aye.
Yeah.
Back then, you 20, 30 quid.
Aye.
No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
and
so
you'd be out all night.
You'd be out all night. You'd be probably out all weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Of course, I mean, because there was things like, you know, the drinks promos were allowed back then.
Yeah, back then.
So a lot of the laws have been changed.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
and events, things like that. You know.
See, I want to kind of. So you're also doing the Volcano.
Yes, there was a lot of kind of things happening from America. There were a lot of club records coming out. You know, likes of your not so much DMX, but your Aaliyah, your R. Kelly. I don't know if I should mention them, but I've mentioned. You know, so all that kind of stuff. You know, all that kind of American street soul, R&B, your No Diggity. If you want to kind of put that in there as well. A Tribe Called Quest were massive then. That's probably my favourite hip hop band of all time. Never got a chance to see them, which I'm gutted. But there was a lot of good, you know, R&B and hip hop coming out at that time from America, and it was all club wise. So when I DJ'd at Reds in Sauchiehall Street, I was the resident there. I had to mix it with. I couldn't. That's what I wanted to play. That was what I wanted to be. That's what I wanted to be known as. And I couldn't play that all night. You even had the Guru, Jazzmatazz, the first album. You know, and that's an immense album. All that time. So I couldn't play that all night. So I had to mix it with commercial pop music, but commercial pop music with an edge, but also, you know, soulful American house. Yeah. You know, and stuff that was, you know, that were getting played at the time. So I was quite happy to do that at Reds, but also I wanted to do the R&B and hip hop thing. So I remember going to Sweden to visit my uncle, and I went to this club. He took me to this club, and that's the first time I met DJ Dodge, who'd done a lot of big productions for Island Records. And he was playing a lot of, you know, like the Yajanis. I'm trying to think what else was out at that time. Mary J. Blige was starting to get big at that time as well. So that was the kind of stuff that's come from America. So I was like, I want to do my own night. I was already playing it in Glasgow, but I had to mix it with those other genres of music, you know, so that it's maintain the business and keep the business going. So then I approached, obviously, Bobby Patterson. God rest his soul, he's gone as well. Who was, well, it was in Love and Money. Yeah. So I said to him, listen, I want to do this. And then I had to get permission off Reds to do it, because it was like that. If you were DJing for somebody, they didn't want you to DJ for your competitors. Because at that time, Colin Barr had the Voodoo Rooms, and he was kind of at me, because Reds was very successful.
Who owned Reds?
A guy called Scott Hurst was a good friend of mine, and Mike Calder.
What's Reds like? Just
so Reds was a very small club upstairs, see beside Nico's. Capacity 300, you know, and it was, I remember...
I think we'll hear more about Reds in the next... but it's been interesting, because it was a very pivotal club for a few different nights.
Yeah, definitely. So then Reds were like, okay, fair enough. They knew my desire to play R&B and hip hop, you know, because I've always been a soul boy at heart, no matter what, you know, but I can turn to different things. So then I'd done a Thursday night, and it was when I'd been to Sweden and checked this out and all that, and saw what was going on there, just different cultures dancing together. I'm not saying that didn't happen in Glasgow, of course it did, but it was just something special about it. I remember there was this girl who was, you know, dead kind of focused, Iona McKellar. You know, she was like travelled a lot and been in different places, and I kind of showed her a video of kind of, I can't remember the track, but it was CC Music Factory. And the track was called Wanna Get Funky, I think it was. And it was just this video, everyone just dancing, getting down. I was like, I want to create that on a Thursday. And she was all for it. So we got together and we kind of put this night out in the Volcano, and we ran it for about a year and a half, and then it dwindled away. And that was that, but it was good. Thursday night in the Volcano, it was really good. It was called Sugar Hill, and I was playing the music, and there was a lot of dance hall coming from Jamaica, like so your Shabba Ranks and your Cutty Ranks and all that.
So that would have been sort of early, well, sort of mid to early 90s?
I can't even remember, I'll be honest with you.
I think it is.
Aye, we'll go with you, what you're saying. But there was a lot of kind of stuff, even your Brandy, you know, I Want to Be Down and all that.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of kind of, and then obviously, I don't think Destiny's Child was a bit too soon then, you know.
Was this music getting all played in other places? I mean, or like,
I was playing it in Reds.
Did you feel like that you were kind of playing music out which wasn't getting played much or whatnot?
No, I was playing at Reds, but what I couldn't do was play it all night.
All night, yeah, right.
So I wanted a place where I could play it all night.
The Volcano was that place.
And the Volcano was that place.
Yeah.
I could do it at Reds, but the thing was we had to mix the house music, the soulful house music, and what was getting played, you know, basically your classics like your 10 City, like your Joe Smooth, Promised Land and all that we were dropping. Yep. You know, you may know this track, Night Moves, Rickster. Yeah, classic tune, you know. Yeah. So all these kind of tunes, we were mixing it with the R&B and then Arrested Development, Everyday People, all that were breaking into the charts. So that's why I wanted to do it, because I could see this happening, but it wasn't quite there at the point when I started doing it in the Volcano. It was there.
And you were right.
I was.
Yeah.
Because I remember Iona saying to me, she says, you think far ahead of your time. Yeah. You know?
No, there's something to be said about that, because, I mean, you've got to think, Glasgow was a very different place back then, but, I mean, house music and techno really were...
all ruling the roost.
That was it.
Oh, 100%. It was, so you were fighting against that. And it was like a one-man crusade.
Yeah.
There was a few people doing it, you know, other people, but it was like a one-man crusade as far as I was concerned. So I was looking at any way to get that music exposed, and then Trash opened up. And then Scott was like to me, Scott Hurst, he said to me, now you've got your own room to do what you want. We can support it now. Trash was a very, very popular club.
Absolutely.
You know, they opened up Trash, I can't remember what year they opened up Trash, and that was Scott Hurst and Mark Woodhouse.
Mm-hmm. So was Cardinal Follies...
So that, Cardinal Follies was well before Trash. So that was linked? The Shack. No, they're two separate. So Cardinal Follies and Shack was on top, Trash was in the bottom.
Okay.
You know, so Trash. So Scott's like to me, you can do your R&B and hip hop on a Saturday night. We called it Groove Jet Soul, and I used to book in DJs. You know, London DJs.
For over 18s.
Yeah, over 18s. This is before the unders. But the unders
is coming.
Did you
book Cool DJ Herc?
Yes, you're coming. I didn't put him on, but it was the club that put him on. So this is a good story, actually. They put on. This is the first time Grandmaster Flash has ever played in Scotland, and they put him on in Trash.
Really?
So the Saturday night I'm playing, he comes in, he walks into my DJ box. Exactly. Wow. This is the guy, one of the main guys. It's great.
This?
Oh, my memory's not.
I think that would have been the 90s.
No, I think you're right. Actually, it would have been the 90s. Probably would have been. Yeah, it would have been. It would have been the 90s. So, but the latter part of the 90s, probably. You're 97 onwards, maybe onwards. Walks into the DJ box. He's looking through my records and all.
Well, was he?
And he's just watching me what I'm playing and what I'm doing and all that, and how the crowd is responding.
Pressure there.
Exactly, you know. But you know, I never felt any pressure, believe it or not, guys. And then actually after performing, he came to me and he was like to me, that was really good, you know, and he was like to me, I want you to warm up for me.
Oh, wow.
On the Sunday gig. Aye. But I already had Reds on a Sunday, which was banging and was mobbed. So Scott wouldn't let me, do it. He was like, I was like, you're killing me here, man. You know, he's like, no, you need to do your Sunday in Reds. But I never saw that gig on the Sunday. But that was the first time Grandmaster Flash played in Scotland.
Wow.
You know, and to have him in your box and watching what you're doing and complimenting you.
To look through your records and stuff like that, that's pretty amazing.
I was buzzing, man, for weeks after it. You know.
So you also, is this a good time to talk about you starting the unders?
Yeah, of course, more or less.
Because the unders, right, like in Glasgow, we used to have a lot of under 18
events, club nights and
in clubs, across the city. They're very few and far between. If not, I don't know if there's any happening anymore. But please,
a lot of DJs came up through it.
Yeah, 100%.
I really want to get into this because this is quite an important thing in so many ways, right? So tell me about how you came about doing an unders. Was it event, and was it unders before? How did that?
So one of my DJ friends, DJ Scud, he tried to do a kind of dance one before, and kids were clashing and all that. And he got Billy Reid that used to work in 23rd Precinct to DJ it, and I can't remember who else. And kids were just clashing, and Scott and Mark were like that. No. 2 days, you said earlier, dangerous. Danger to the licence. So then, and nothing happened for about a year, and then I approached Scott and Mark about doing an under-18s playing R&B and hip-hop. This is even before Eminem and 50 Cent became big.
Yeah.
And I remember the general manager at the time saying, kids are not in the R&B and hip-hop, wasting your time and all that. So I remember my nephew, Moses, he gave me a video of Up in Smoke. That's the American tour where it was 50 Cent, Eminem, Snoop, that's all, Dr. Dre, all those things were become big. And I remember I hadn't watched it for a good couple of months, and then one night I was just chilling and I was like, oh, I'll just watch it, put it on. Started watching this and I was like, this is incredible. You know, I can't remember how many states they went across, but they were sell out all the time. Nate Dogg was on the tour as well. So this music was starting to churn. But then if you think back to when I'd done the Volcano, Sugar Hill.
On a Thursday.
The time between both of them are long. So I was... I don't know, but...
A decade?
Possibly, man. Possibly.
That's a long time.
The time, so my vision was too soon at that time.
Yeah.
You know? So then... As I said to my nephew, I said, would you think an under-18s for R&B and hip-hop would work? And he was like, I think that'd be great, uncle. So I was like, okay. So I approached the owners of Trash and I was like, okay, let's give it a try. You know, we struck a deal and basically put it out there. First night we got about 160. It was good. And then the second one we fell down to 60. And I remember going to my mum afterwards and I was like, that wasn't very good. So I had to face the owners, you know, later the next week. And they were like, no, keep going. Because Scott knew me and knew my drive and my passion. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he was quite willing to give me a chance, you know, right? And I think that's very important as well. So, you know, when I kind of planned it, my main vision was to get kids listening to good music.
Yeah.
That was always in my head. You know, I didn't think it was going to be this big. And I remember, so when we got the unders up and running and the police were really happy with it, they were like, what a difference compared to our chaos.
Well... Yeah, so this is when I kind of start to kind of get familiar with
what I'm doing,
and dance music, because when I was like 13 or whatnot, there was 2 unders that I was aware of, well 3 actually. It was Chaos, Destiny,
that's right,
Trash, right? And Trash, I had a kind of pool of people from ethnic minorities, right?
100%.
Now, from where I lived, the idea of going to a Chaos or anything in town was like no chance, because it was, you know, it just seemed like chaos happening, right? But, you know, Trash, I mean, you said Trash wasn't quite like that.
No, it wasn't like that. And but then again, going back to our Chaos, I think there was a lot of genuine kids that want to go there and have a good time.
Yeah.
It's just that minority that, you know, would spoil it for everyone. And you need to...
It was a big club.
Exactly, it's a big club. So, you know, you need to nip that in the bud to get rid of that element. Yeah. That's one of the secrets of, you know, and we were lucky at Trash, we didn't get any major incidents. You know, and I don't know, because the tempo...
Glasgow that time was a miracle.
A miracle.
That's the thing, Glasgow at that time had quite a heavy problem with...
Gang problem.
Gang problem,
yeah.
And a lot of kids would kind of
get involved in that,
and get involved in these unders, and I think that's the kind of vibe that we kind of got off from going to these unders, was like, nah, fuck that. It just sounds like it's just a cauldron of mayhem.
But the beauty of the unders was you were getting all kids mixing together, all races, white, Chinese, black, Asians, you know, all mixing together, enjoying the music. Yeah. And the place, I used to stand there sometimes, and the place used to just take my breath away. I'd just be like, wow, the place was bouncing. As soon as they got in, they would run up to the stage. I don't know if you remember, Trash, there was a stage at the back of the dance floor.
Yeah.
Just run, and they'd be dancing from like the start till the end, you know, and it was just unbelievable. And because I remember after we fell down to 60, and then I started to network and find, you know, through my nephew, kids that would be good to like join the street team to get the word out there, you know, on all the schools and stuff like that. And, you know, and then it just exploded. But the good thing the thing that let Trash down was we couldn't showcase live entertainment in Trash. The acoustics weren't set up for it because the speakers were too near the mics and stuff. Somebody performing on the stage, you know, there could be problems. So
what capacity was it?
The main hall
was in it, but just...
It's had different rooms. So you had the main room, and then you had the side room where I used to do Groove Jet Soul on a Saturday, and then the main room was house, and then you had the cave down at the bottom where they used to just do cheesy pop tunes and karaoke and whatever.
Yeah.
I would say about just under 1,000 maybe.
As big as that?
No, maybe 800, maybe 800, I push 800.
Aye, very. I mean, I can remember, I think a Tuesday night.
It was a big gangway, you know, walkway to get into in the rooms type thing. So the Unders was great. It was incredible. And the vision was to get kids listening to good music. Yeah. That was the thing, because kids were just getting bled dance music constantly. Yeah. And I was just like, no, there's other music.
From like media, TV, radio?
Media, TV, radio, whatever. Scotland was so dance.
Aye.
It was very dance, man.
It
was just dominating. So it was a journalist called, who was it? What was his name again? Stuart Daly. He kind of planted the seed in my head. And he was like, well, should do an under 18s for kids. And that's when it took off. And then we had done some in Destiny. What I liked about Destiny is a club never had a good reputation.
Yeah.
You know? So, but what I liked about Destiny was whatever act you put on or whatever DJ you put on, no matter where you are in that building, you can see. You know, because I used to put on like MTV parties there.
Yeah.
Radio 1 parties with obviously Radio 1 DJs like Tim Westwood and Trevor Nelson and all that. And, you know, and that's why I like that venue because of that. Because I remember Mark Goldinger, God rest his soul, he's God as well. He said to me, "Why are you taking it there?" Because he had the temple at the time. And he's like, it's not got a very good reputation. Destin, and I explained it to him. And he never said anything, after I explained it to him. I said, that's why, because you would have people at the top of you, people at the sides, people at the back. They could see everything. Yeah. And it was so great, and it was a great buzz to, do the MTV light parties, because you would see your name in MTV alongside Trevor Nelson.
So are these still for unders?
No, this is for the overs. This is overs, but the unders was fantastic,
See the unders, I mean, it sounds like... like you've made quite an impact on, that
youth. 100%.
Youth, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you also did the sub club also, didn't you?
Yeah, I'd done the sub club. When Trash burnt down, I went to sub club. And it was good as well. And I think, it went to the right place because it was Paul and Mike, obviously, at the time, and they're about music and stuff like that. And obviously, it's to kind of feed the next generation, getting used to going out and enjoying themselves. Yeah. And we kept it very safe. There was no trouble.
No. As the thing, like, see, that generation is my generation, right? Mm-hmm. So the fact that you were introducing kids, what was the lowest age that you'd accept?
13.
13, right? So you're introducing kids between 13 and
17.
And 17, right? To a clubbing environment, right? Now, if that would also be attractive to go to because it's exciting, right?
Well, absolutely.
When those kids hit 18, they're primed.
They're going to the sub club.
They're ready.
Yeah, they're ready to go.
They're already going, right? Now
you're giving them an experience.
Right? And from the word going to hit 18, they're already 3-4 years exposed to this music, whereas nowadays you don't really get I don't know a single unders happening right now.
It's a shame. It really is a shame, but it needs to be in the right hands. That's very vital, very important. It needs to be in the right hands of the people that have got the right
clubs.
Yeah, and clubs, and got the right mindset. And it's a case of getting these people ready to when they start to go to gigs and start to go to clubs. Because that under 18s I've done from Trash to obviously sub club service places like Carbon, Bamboo, and Garage and whatever.
Of course,
it got them used to going out and sub club as well.
And also probably inspired a lot of kids who probably became DJ, became producers.
Yeah,
made music.
Who knows? You know what I mean? But the thing was, if you think about it, there's something deeper than what you've just said there.
Yeah.
What is deeper than that is basically those kids had a Saturday job and a job during the week, so they'd be networking in their schools to get people to come, but they'd also be handing out flyers, so they're learning people skills, how to approach people, and how to do that. So they were taught that, how to deliver that properly. So that's good for their CV if they're going to college or uni or applying for a job. They say, I had a Saturday job working this, this night, this event. Yeah. It was quite popular, and then I'd learnt a lot of kind of stuff in London, worked for Warner Music, a lot of street team marketing. I used to be head of street team for Scotland, so if there was a big artist like Missy Elliott, for example, had an album out, I'd be giving the album samplers out to DJs and radio stations or whatever, going down to London for big meetings to find out what was coming out, and say Carnival would be out handing out samplers to all the crowds and stuff like that. So I built a street team. They were all getting paid. At first, there wasn't much money in the pot, but the kids were happy to be part of it. Yeah. And they didn't care. They went out in all elements handing out flyers, but as long as they got in for free. But then when money became available, they got well weighed in. Yeah. They got their share as well. Yeah. And then, at Christmas, I'd go to the head of the street team and say, okay, you've worked hard, things have been really good. Here's a budget. Go and get everyone a meal. Enjoy yourselves. Even sometimes we'd be like, go to M&D's, I'd hire a minibus for them. Yeah. And it's like say October week, and they would go and enjoy themselves. Yeah.
That's the thing, you were obviously in a good place to do these parties, because you had your finger on the pulse with what those kids were into. Yeah. With obviously your work at Warner Music, so that obviously kind of played a major part in terms of how you could maybe kind of approach doing the unders?
Yeah, it's very risky because I never used to relax, until I'd phoned maybe the club and said any incidents, anything came back from the police, because there was a kid who I kind of worked closely with me, a guy called Paul Wilson, very, very streetwise, and he ran the door with the stewards at the sub club. Yeah. So he knew all the idiots. Right. He knew even when we'd done parties in Destiny, so he could handle himself. Yeah. So he'd be like, beat it. Because they're not getting in. So anyone knew that they were stepping out of line, they knew they weren't getting in, so they wouldn't, if they wanted to misbehave, they could go and do it somewhere else. Yeah. Not near the club. They knew that. So believe it or not, Wilson is now married and got his own family. And he comes now and again back to Glasgow to see his folks, and anytime when he got a bit older, we'd go for a curry. We'd go to Mr. Singh's and chat about how the event went and all that, and da-da-da-da-da. So when the first time he came back from Australia, he was before me, he faced me and he said, I'm coming back, let's meet for a curry and all that. So had a curry, caught up, had a laugh and talked about old times. And when the bill came, he was like to me, I'm paying. He's like, the amount of experiences, the lifetime experiences you've gave me, is second to none, and I can't thank you enough. And he's done it twice.
It's amazing, man.
So that's the impact, and there's so many kids that I've seen that were under in the street team that went on to do good things, which is incredible. It's just great, and that's a great feeling for me, rather than profit or whatever. It's just you've made an impact, as you said. On somebody's life.
Young people into music,
just music, and getting them people skills, getting them confidence. Some kids you would get, they would say "boy to a ghost," and then by
they're out
marketing, they're sailing.
I just can't imagine an unders scene like that right now.
I know it'd be very hard.
Very
hard.
It's a shame.
It's a shame because, and I'll tell you why it's a shame, because so many parents I've met over the years, I've said, and if I'm bumping them, you're not doing that anymore, Paul. It's a shame. That was great for the kids. Yeah. That was so good. Yeah. And that's what happens. People get, and they don't see the hard work that's went into something to get it to that level.
Totally,
to get it to that. And some of the kids would last from being 13, 14 to when they started maybe going to uni. They'd still be doing it. Yeah. And they'd be looking after the younger ones, that were learning it. Yeah. Yeah. And it's a shame, and sometimes I think, it pops up like, you should do that again, and I'm like, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's a different animal now,
It's just a different time.
It's a time, and I don't know if I've got that energy, if I'm being honest with you, because it took up a lot of energy and time doing it.
You may have said this before, but did you book DJs to play at the Unders?
No, not necessarily. No.
Was it just?
I mean, the thing.
No, we did. We booked a few London DJs. We did book a few London hip hop and R&B DJs. DJ Swerve. I can't remember who else we booked. We put on some acts as well.
Yeah.
But we put on So Solid.
Oh, did you?
I put them on at the O2. First we booked Lisa Mafia, but then she never turned up.
I'd love to see that.
So who was it again that turned up? Romeo turned up with what's his name again? I can't remember one of the other guys, one of the other members, and they performed because Lisa Mafia didn't turn up. So it was great, and I got friendly with these guys, so anytime they were up, Glasgow doing something, they'd always look me up.
That would have been the early 2000s?
Yeah, 100%, early 2000s, But moving on, the Unders was pivotal for me getting the radio show.
Yeah.
Very, very pivotal.
Aye. So I was wanting to talk about that too then, Ruffer. So do you want to therefore tell us about how, so it was called Urban Beats?
So it was called the Urban Beat on Beat 106.
Beat on 106.
But before that, I'd done a lot of kind of student radio and Sub-City radio.
Okay.
Yeah. I couldn't remember that the other day. Like, in this week.
Yes.
Aye.
Is it still going?
I don't even know, man.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Because it's through Glasgow Uni.
It's through Glasgow Uni, 100%.
It's still going.
Yeah. So I'd done a lot of that. I'd done like the Breakfast Show, and I'd done FM8. M8 Magazine had a station. They were trying to do a dance station as well, so they put me on, and I was playing R&B and hip hop and stuff like that. So, but before that, I was doing likes of Vox Pops for Radio Scotland. Yeah. So basically, they had a magazine show called Ghetto Blasting. So I was interviewing urban acts for them, and that was great as well. That was a great experience. But then I was doing demos constantly, getting a knockback, guys. Honestly, some people would have been giving up the amount of knockbacks I got.
What do you mean demos for radio shows?
Radio shows. Demos for radio shows. They never thought the market was strong enough. They didn't believe.
How wrong they were.
No, exactly. Yeah. So this is kind of a good story. So I was sending demos. I'd done a demo at quite a few at Gordon Gowdy, who obviously Echoing the Bunnymen and Simple Minds guy.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Gordon's a well-known West End figure.
Yeah.
Character. I love Gordon. And then done some with Grant McSleazy. Yeah. And done a couple at Savah as well. So I was sending these demos, and then one day it clicked. Radio Clyde were interested. So basically, it was a guy, program controller called Ross McFadden. He was like, the music's becoming very accessible. Now we like what you're doing.
Just to make it clear, there wasn't any radio shows as of yet playing this music, right? Just to kind of clarify, right? So this was like trailblazing stuff.
This is like first of its kind,
Right.
So, so then, for some strange reason, it never happened at Clyde 1, okay? Things went quiet. And then Stevie Kerr, the DJ, I don't know if you know him, Yeah. He, Beat 106 already knew about me, and he phoned me and randomly says, Beat 106 are thinking about doing an urban show. Your name's been mentioned quite a lot. By that time, I didn't know if they're mentioning your name, you're the guy they want. So Stevie was like to me, leave it with me and let me think how I can go about this to get you in. So I remember doing a demo, so I started sending more demos to a guy called Mark Finlay, who was a program controller at the time. And eventually he was like that, okay, come into the studio and do demos with us. So I was thinking, I didn't think it was in the bag then. But
had you done radio before then?
Only student radio.
Just, aye.
Yeah, but my aim, that was like me being the Scotland football captain.
Of course.
And winning the World Cup for my country.
Absolutely.
That's the feeling it gave me.
See, doing a demo, right? Doing a demo to have a radio show would be, you'd play a couple of tunes.
I'm glad you asked that, because I was interested.
So how long would a demo be, right? And what?
Very, very short. Right. So you're talking under 10 minutes, 20 minutes max.
So just to hear basically the tracks and how you perform,
how you perform, how you talk about the music.
Do you still have them, or
do you know what? I think I have actually. I've still got them. I've got the one that I cut in Savah, actually. And so I went and done quite a few demos at Beat 106 for a good couple of months at least, because this is the first of its kind ever in Scotland. Yeah. So I think from their side they were a bit nervous as well to see how it would go. So the actual show was meant to be a graveyard shift, 3 till 6. All right.
Yeah.
I had a bit in their hand off. They approached someone else, who I'd rather not mention, but it went to the right guy. I'll blow smoke up my arse. I don't know if you can put that in the podcast.
That's all right. Yeah.
That's all right.
You know, well, so I was told anyway. So when I was doing the demos at Beat 106, the program controller Mark said, we like the voice and all that. You know, and I remember Mark knew, because anytime I phoned Beat 106, can I speak to the program controller? Even the receptionist knew my voice before even I mentioned my name. She's like, that's that guy looking for an R&B show type thing. So, remember doing several demos, quite a lot of demos, and then it was between Christmas and New Year, and you don't hear anything because everything goes in meltdown and everything goes quiet. Yeah. And I'm phoning Stevie, and I'm like, Stevie, what's happening? Has Mark said anything? And all that? He's like, no. So then I remember January 2003, I get an email in the afternoon, I can't remember what day in January, come into the studio and do a demo. So we'd done a demo, and Mark was like, it's getting good, it's getting good. And I remember doing the demo in the studio with Stevie, giving me help, and Stevie said to me, Mark's not going to say no to this. So then we went and played it. He listened to it. He's like, that's getting good. He's like, give me one more demo. I'm like, oh, for goodness sake. So then after he was listening to the demo, he started to mention names of people that were kind of, the word was getting out, they were thinking about doing it. So I'm panicking and all that, thinking. So then I went in January. I remember this date very well. It was January 2023. I got the nod. Done a demo. He was like to me, it's perfect, very knowledgeable about the music, the artists and stuff like that. That's what we're looking for. He says, I'm really sorry that I put you through the mill, but I'm only doing my job. Yeah. And he's like, you got the show. He says,
it's January
2003. 2003. And I remember going down the stairs, jumping in my car, and screaming in my car like a madman. Like crazy, like if you're a salesman, you'd be like, what the hell's he on, or what's he doing?
I mean, this is the first
ever
in Scotland ever. R&B,
hip-hop, radio show
playing
no pressure.
urban music.
Playing urban music on a Saturday afternoon between 1 and 3.
Perfect time.
A perfect time, where it was meant to be a graveyard shift. Yeah. But I couldn't tell anyone about this in case word had got out, because the station was relaunching. Okay, so I was only allowed to tell family, and that was it. And I remember my mum was the first person I went to and said I got the show, and she knew the struggle and all that, and we just hugged each other and we just, screaming.
And since like kind of London, obviously back then, or radio shows coming out of London or Manchester, Birmingham, they were already having shows.
Yeah, 100%. They were all blasting.
Already.
Oh yeah, blasting. But also the record companies got involved. All the major record labels got involved, like your Sonys, your BMGs, your Virgin, and all that. They were writing letters to Beat 106 because I started telling them, listen, I'm testing. So they were like backing up, saying this is the right guy to do it. Because they're obviously thinking it's more we can market our artists, in Scotland. Yeah. This is great. So there was a big unveiling of the radio station again, and it was at the Glasgow School of Art, right? So it was all the presenters turned up. I brought my street team, my under 18 street team. There was about 15 members to it. They never knew what was happening. I just said, listen, we're having a wee kind of get together, be at the Glasgow School of Art, such and such a time. But the only person that knew was my nephew Moses. And I remember when I told him about it, he's like to me, I think all the birds you're going to get. He said to me, I was like, typical. But and I remember it was Des Clark, who's now on Heart, I think, and does a lot of TV. So the place is packed with Scottish music journalists wondering what the hell's going on, what's happening and stuff like that. And Des Clark got on stage and said, Beat 106, we're innovators of dance music, all types of dance music, and we're proud to present Scotland's first R&B hip-hop show. Right. And the guy's going to deliver that for the Scottish audience. It's Mr. Paul Njie. And then it's just, I went upstage and the cameras were flashing.
That's a great moment for you, Paul, you know.
Unbelievable.
I mean, Saturday, 1 p.m. till 3, right? I mean, I don't really know when radio's busy, right? But surely it's busy.
People are thinking about going out on a Saturday night.
Yeah, Saturday night, exactly.
So surely that's the busiest time, you know. So you've got a prime time slot.
Oh, I never thought about it, because initially it was meant to be 3 till 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
So Mark Finlay, who was the programme controller, said, listen, girls like R&B and hip-hop, they don't like football. We'll slot it in there. That's where it'll work. So remember I told you this story, when we spoke on the phone. So we went down to London, me and the music schedule for Beat 106 for the launch of Usher's Confessions album in 2003, I think it was. And the guy from Radio Clyde was there. Right, and Mark Finlay had got a job with Capitol in London, the programme control for Beat 106, and the record company was a big jolly. Took us down to London, 5-star everything type thing, and then we went out for dinner after, obviously listen to Usher and listen to the album and hearing about how he produced the album, how he wrote the album and stuff like that. Went for dinner and Mark said to me, oh my God, he says, you're rocking Scotland. 60,000 people were listening to me on a Saturday afternoon between 1 and 3, and the guy from Clyde won his face, right to see it. It's like thunder. It's like brilliant. So then, and that was that. So the back of those figures, there was the managing director of Beat 106 was a brilliant guy called Hugh Murray. A really nice guy, really nice team at Beat 106. It's such a shame that platform isn't there anymore for Scottish jocks to kind of, go and do their thing, that specialist thing. But when the figures came out, he announced it in front of the whole station. It was like, Paul Njie, 60,000, incredible. He's like, we knew we had the right guy, all along. So they moved me a Thursday night between 10 and 1. I was pulling them between 30 and 40,000. So kids studying. Some kids have said to me, just meet them, we used to study and listen to you on a Thursday night. And then they moved me to also done a Sunday. They gave me 2 shows. And it was on a Sunday afternoon between 1 and 4. So what I used to do was do trash, under 18s, then do the overs, and then get up and do the radio show.
Wow.
Sunday I was knackered. It's been crackered. Sunday I would just conk out on a Sunday.
I know you obviously would interview
big acts, global acts.
I mean, can you tell us some of your favourite ones and some of the kind of highlights?
Yeah, absolutely. Interviewed Usher a few times, Alicia Keys, Mary J. Blige, interviewed 50 Cent.
In person? Or
some done ISDN.
Right.
Usher was face to face, because I'd been down in London to obviously listen to the album launch or listen to the album and be at the album launch party a few times. Most of them were done ISDN, but 50 Cent I'd done face to face for the Massacre album.
Brilliant.
And that was so surreal. I never told my producer. I've got another good story coming up as well, a cracking story coming about Kanye West. So I remember doing it at the Radisson Blue. I never told my producer. I went to the station, got the mini disc recorder. A good friend of mine who was on the tour said, I can get you to set you up an interview. And he's one of those artists that will talk all day. So I interviewed the whole of G Unit and then interviewed him.
Right.
And I remember when my producer, Stuart Barry, he was in charge of all the specialist DJs at Beat 106. He produced all their shows. He edited the interview. I remember we played out the interview, and it just seemed you had to be there. It just seemed like the whole country stopped what they were doing to listen to this interview. I remember, when you weren't allowed to take your phone into the studio, but even just when we were playing an interview, people were texting, what an interview, incredible. When I put on my personal phone blew up with people just saying incredible. But I'll never forget that interview. I remember interviewing DMX, and he was so high. He was like, we can't play this interview out, He was crazy what stuff he was talking about. You were just like, you can't play that out. Interviewed Busta Rhymes, lots and lots and lots of acts, Black Eyed Peas, you name it. And it was great. It was like a crusade, but I'd arrived finally type thing.
Yeah.
type thing. And it was that's a feeling I said to you there when we spoke. I'll take that to my grave.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, it's a great achievement,
Oh, wonderful achievement!
And
absolutely to break, that kind of, an urban sound.
Scotland's when it's so dance.
But it's just because it's so different now. But back then, it was certainly revolutionary, like for and seeing the way things were going to go as well.
I mean, this might be a good time just to quickly ask you about this, because see the fact that you kind of broke that, right? And it's obviously like in the kind of in the kind of industry that we're in here, it's quite a kind of white dominated kind of thing.
But music's not about race. It's just whatever you're into, what I mean? Music's for everyone.
Did you ever kind of have any kind of so you're also a promoter, I
did hear a couple of comments not directed at me, but I think a lot of kind of club owners were kind of thinking there's not enough black people, because if you go down to London or Manchester, there's a lot more black people, so they're more dancing, to that kind of music. They've got venues, so there was very few and far between venues in Scotland would give you that opportunity. Scott at Trash and Reds was one, and McKaylee, who used to own Cube, he was one as well. There's very few far between.
It's. And also, from very early on, there can't be that many.
There wasn't. Back then the venue G2 which is now G2, was a Saturday night, was where you would hear reggae, disco, soul, even though clubs like elite clubs like the Warehouse and Eno Africas were playing, like hip hop, but they were also playing house music and pop music with an edge and some dance music. But at that time, that wasn't the rave scene wasn't even here yet, So even though we were playing soul, funk, and jazz and all that, but that was the only place where a lot of kind of ethnic minorities went. So. Yeah, that was back in the day, and that was obviously George Bowie's dad, Ross Bowie, that allowed that to happen, because there used to be a reggae night on a Thursday in the Mayfair. It was a guy called Carl, I can't remember his surname. He had that packed, but I'm talking, I must have been about 18 at the time, and I even saw Steel Pulse there.
Wow.
Which is incredible, to see them live.
I just think it's to kind of be noted that, I think the kind of career that you've had, it's been, to then get the radio show, and
that was a pinnacle,
and break that, because it is an achievement, because as I was saying, things obviously are a lot more diverse now,
100%.
But in the early 2000s, 90s and whatnot, there wasn't that many people from an ethnic minority promoting.
No, there wasn't. There was very
DJing about.
Very few and far between. I could probably put in my one hand the amount of black DJs in Scotland. In clubs. There's me, Shagan, Nicky Karanki, Mr. Superbad, my brother Jerry. I'm trying to think who else. That would be it that comes to mind, but that's that. But it was a great achievement. It was a long journey to get to that. But when I finally got there, it was sweet, man. It was unbelievable. I've got plaques in my home with, achievement of likes of Usher, the sales, for the UK with my name on it.
Oh, wow.
Outcast, interviewed Outcast as well. Andre 3000, interviewed him in London. Face to face, cool. Aye, very dapper guy,
Kanye West story.
Kanye West, I've got that. Sorted, I forgot that.
I want to hear this.
So, the College Dropout album, massive at the time. So it was a Scottish guy who was the tour manager, but I was a tour manager, and I knew him. I can't remember what band he was in. He was in Gun, but I've forgotten his name. So he approached me. Sorry?
I know them.
So he approached me and said, listen, we know about your show. Kanye's coming up to do a tour. The tour begins in Scotland. Okay? The O2. We want you to do an interview with Kanye backstage. It's like, cool, told my producer. And it's just, that's brilliant. The whole station's talking about it. Breakfast show, Paul Njie's interviewing Kanye West, because that album was massive, So what happened was, so I think this guy's name was Mark. I can't remember. It's such a long time ago. So he was like to me, come with him in the disc recorder. So my producer was like, I'll meet you at the Carlin. So waiting for my producer at the Carlin and all that. And all these people in the queue, it's Paul from B106, brilliant. So then I phoned Mark and he's like, I'll come and get you. Came and got us. Went backstage before Kanye went on. He's like, Kanye's ready. So my producer's like that to me, switch on the mini disc recorder. My producer actually met me with the mini disc recorder. I didn't take it, okay? So get backstage, all these big record company execs are all there. They play I don't know if you've been in the foyer backstage in the Carlin Academy. It's very tight.
Last week.
It's very, very tight. So then Stuart hands me the disc recorder and he's like to me, switch on. Switched on, no power.
Oh dear.
Alright. He never even took the AC plug with him. So we can do the interview.
Really?
Aye. So I was like, Stuart, there's no power on this. And he's like, give it to me. He's like, we had to apologise and say we can't do the interview. So he's playing a second night and they said, come and do it the second night. And they blanked us.
Oh dear.
They blanked us. I know. That story made London all the big records. So made London. But then
You must have been gutted.
I was gutted. But then a few years later, I met him. I opened up for him in the Fringe.
Aye.
At the
Fringe?
At the Fringe, yeah. He done a concert in the Fringe. It was a very small concert. Where was it? Was it the Liquid Rooms? Oh, I can't remember the venue. I need to go back and check. But yeah, and I opened up for him and I met him, got my photograph taken with him. So that made up for it.
Yeah.
See, obviously now doing a primetime radio show, right? It must have opened up a lot of opportunities for you. For example, you said to me the other night that you opened up the mobiles in Glasgow.
Yeah.
So I mean that's that's another big thing that
massive.
we can get into here. So
Massive.
Tell us about getting the gig at the mobiles and that whole
Opened up 3 times.
3 times.
3 times. First time at the exhibition centre. This is the first time it ever came out of London. So people are like, why Scotland?
Yeah, I can remember people saying that.
Why Glasgow? So the...
2003?
No.
Well,
maybe 9, 10 or something like that.
10?
Something like that. I can't even remember. I need to go back and check. So I remember meeting Kanya King, the person who organised the thingy, the mobos and all that, and introduced myself, talking to her. This was at the press launch, saying to them they're bringing it to Glasgow. And she's like, interesting. So she went away and done her research. And that's the right word. And, basically big people in the record company industry in London and all that, they knew about me and they were like, aye, he's the guy, big network in Scotland.
Yeah.
And she obviously looked at my resume and stuff, my CV. So then she came back to me. I saw her a couple of times and then closer to the event happening, she said to me, we want you to open that up. And I was like, wow, that's incredible. So I remember getting interviewed on the 5 p.m. show on STV by, I think it's Sandy Jordan. Stephen Jordan. Stephen Jordan. Yeah. And I'm normally, I won't tell anyone. Even there's only few people that I've told I'm doing this, So I keep things very quiet until it's ready to come out.
Yeah.
So what happened was they went in and then he said it live on TV. So I see you're opening up the mobos and I was like, that's a secret. It's maybe a surprise here. So he's like, who do you think's going to pick up ours? And I was saying to him and he's like, brilliant, fantastic. There was a girl called Vicky Lee that I used to work with B106 that set it up. Okay, she was head of news at Beat 106 and done the interview, and I remember rushing back home after the interview was recorded because I was opening up that night. And then basically getting ready. I didn't have long to get ready, just an hour got ready, went to the exhibition centre, and as soon as I walked in I saw the cameras and the props, and I DJ'd in the exhibition centre before and never fazed me at all. Yeah. I remember a close friend of mine texting me before the gig, please, she kind of knew what was going on. She was like, whatever happens, nothing go wrong, but it wasn't live on TV, but when people were coming in, you know, I was the one on the mic, getting everyone hyped up and all that, and stuff like that. So I remember seeing David Guetta and Kelly Rowland sound checking beforehand, and I was like, oh, this is big time now, you know, you better get your big boy pants on and go there and do it. So I remember going backstage and catering, and then just having a glass of champagne and some nice tea and all that, and then I sound checked, and then the guy head of the stage said, right, you're on, because they were letting people in and all that. So there's all these big record company execs from all over the world coming in, and obviously all the, you know, big Scottish councillors and whatever who maybe have helped fund it, I don't know, and like that, and all the club people and all that. So I'd switched off my phone, done a DJ set, totally blew the place apart. You know, it was incredible. I had the people in the palm of my hands. You're talking 8,000 to 10,000 people there. So I remember coming off stage and switching on my phone. My phone went crazy with the amount of people that were in the audience. Said, "Oh man, that was incredible. You done Scotland proud. You know, well, good for you. You deserve it," and all that. Even going to back to the radio show, the amount of people that text me throughout the UK saying, "If anyone deserves it, it's you. You know, you've worked hard in the scene, you know, to get that scene out there." Yeah, and it was incredible. And then I remember phoning my mum, and my mum saw the interview on TV, and she's like, "You done me proud." And I was just like, a wee bit emotional moment there.
It must be quite a moment, because you're actually not from that far away from the SEC, you know. You're literally up the road. And to then be opening, you know, a major world music event.
Yeah.
You know,
it's incredible. Yeah, it was incredible. And they asked me back 3 times, and just opening up for big artists like Mariah Carey, Kanye West is mentioned. I opened up for The Game, Pharrell, lots of people I've opened up for. You know.
Yeah, that's a warm-up set. Opening up for Pharrell.
And that's that. But you know, it's just incredible. And then voted twice in the Daily Record for top 100 Scots.
Hey,
amongst, you know, footballers, celebrities, you name it.
Yeah.
You know, and it was not as if it was like 99, it was like 34 and 40 something, the second year. So that was another buzz as well. I remember DJing at Trash on a Tuesday night. That was another popular night in Glasgow. Yeah. Very, very popular, always busy. And
a couple of times.
So did a lot of people. Yeah. And then one of the stewards ran through with the Daily Record. Sometimes you would get the people late at night selling the papers and all that. Yeah. And he'd bought one and had a look and saw it, came running into the club and showed me it. And I was like, oh, wow, didn't expect that, didn't see that coming. Yeah. You know, and it was just like, I was on cloud 9 for days after that, seeing that, you know, just to be amongst so many famous people.
Yeah.
You know,
but it's obviously a nice accolade to I'm sure
of a lifetime's work.
Yeah, of a lifetime's work. See, before we start to talk about more recent stuff, Paul, can you tell us about the period whilst you're doing your radio show, if what you're doing in Clubland, during having a radio show? You did speak about doing Trash on Saturday night, and then can you take us right up to, like, obviously starting the Soul on Sundays a couple of years ago?
So I would normally DJ around the country. You would get a lot of bookings for universities, colleges and all that, and guest spots.
And you said you showed us earlier on Southport.
Southport, yeah, I'd done that, which was amazing. You know, I'd never ever been to ever, and people found that strange. They asked me, you know, and said, "You've been to Southport?" And I'm like, "No, I've not been." "What is that for?" And I was like, "I've always wanted them to ask me to DJ first before I go."
Oh, you got your wish.
I got my wish. I remember just one night I was sitting in the living room randomly. I was going through my emails, and then next thing, you know, I got an email, and it was a girl I knew from down south who works with record companies, and she's like to me how it was a guy, a DJ from England called DJ Bigger, who's quite big, you know, in the soul, you know, R&B street soul scene, and he said, "Why get Paul Njie up to DJ for, you know, at Southport?" And I never had the best lot, as I said to you earlier, but you know what? To be on that bill, it's incredible. There's not many Scottish DJs. I think there's only a handful of us that have made it onto the bill.
Yeah.
For that Southport.
See with the kind of music you obviously played quite a diverse music, right? From not being soul to hip hop to commercial within age range. Did you find yourself not getting to play certain stuff because people might have had an impression of what you played when it might have not been quite right. Because what you think quite often these days is people may not get booked for something because people might think, oh, they play that sound. So because you played quite a diverse sound,
I can easily adapt.
Of course,
I was always adaptable. I might not like what I'm doing, but I'll be professional and I'll do it, and I'll do a good show, and I'll leave. And when I was started out in my career, I remember a guy saying to me once, he says, no matter how many people are in this place, even if it's 5 or 10, they've paid their money, you need to entertain them. And I've always carried that through my career.
See, I was just interested, just like, so do you play digital now?
I do play Serato. I've been playing Serato for a long time.
When did you switch from vinyl?
Oh, I think I was doing Sub Club Unders. Yeah, Sub Club Unders. I was switched. I remember I was DJing for, I opened up for D12 at the SECC. And I remember seeing an American DJ using it, tour DJ using it. That's the first time I saw it.
Saw it really get used.
And I was like, what's that? You know, and he was explained and all that, and then I took note of it, and I went to Rubber Dub, I think it was, and bought it. And that's all I use is Serato. But
I don't miss carrying flight cases up 3 levels, no.
My back couldn't take that, honestly, man. I could couldn't take it anymore. And people say to me, would you go back to vinyl? And I'm like, no. I like the thought of it, and I just bought new decks, and I'm waiting for them to get delivered, so I'm going to play it in the house, you know. But no, I wouldn't go out.
I think if you come through, everybody's different.
Yeah.
You know? But certainly for me, I would say what you can do electronically now just is so much more.
I agree with you there.
For editing and live, you know, just basically making up new tracks. Really, you know?
Absolutely, 100%. Because the digital thing, it makes it more creative.
Absolutely.
You know, it makes it, you can be very creative with the way you play your tunes and how you lay down your jams. But, you know, you asked me a question, you know, earlier on we're talking about, and I was like, I always say this, I teach DJing to young people as well. I've done that for quite a few years, you know, just going around Scotland teaching young people. And I always say to them, it's not your technical ability, it's how you lay down your jams and how you entertain is the most important thing. Read the dance floor. There'll be times you'll get it wrong, there's times I get it wrong as well, but I'll go away and think about it. And I'll make sure to correct it for the next time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
See, with the early period of your DJing career, right, you really got to learn how to read a room.
How did you learn how to mix then? Back
then, just practicing, just constant practicing, just...
I mean, did anybody... Was there somebody, you know, that showed you?
Not necessarily.
Just watching DJs.
Just watching DJs and listening and stuff like that. I'd done a course, but I was already able to mix. But I'd done a course with DMC.
Yeah.
You know, as well. I went down to London, done a course with them with Cutmaster Swift. Done with him, you know, amazing DJ, you know. So, done that. But just over the years of practicing, I'm not brilliantly gifted. I'll be honest. There's guys that will totally blow me right out of the park, you know, but I can read a room, and that's the most important thing. I've got a half decent mixing ability.
Yeah, so
you know,
I think it's probably a good time now, Paul, to move on to the more recent stuff, right? So
on Sunday,
right? I had the pleasure, right, of going down for the last one a couple of weeks ago, and I must admit, I loved the vibe in there, you know, like I loved the fact.
You said you worked at BAad as well.
I used to work in BAad, but like I think just tell us about Soul on Sunday and the whole concept behind it, and tell us about, you know, just the crowd and what you want to achieve out of doing Soul on Sundays.
Soul on Sunday is very, very special. It totally blows my mind to think as a kid I used to go to the Barras with my parents and my family to, you know, the Sunday market, you know, and to think I'm doing an event there is just mad, you know, in my head. You know, I never saw it coming, but before COVID, I kind of stopped DJing. I was just like, I'm done with it. No I do it anymore.
Yeah.
I just want to and I wasn't doing events as well, to be honest with you. So I was kind of more teaching young people how to DJ and stuff like that, and that's how I was, you know, paying my bills and stuff like that, and getting by. I would do the odd private gig, I'd do the odd night for someone, but I was just tired of working for people, to be honest with you. And I said, I'm going to take a wee break. Took a wee break for a good few years, but quite a few close friends have nipping my head saying, why are you not doing something? There's nowhere for us to go. There's nowhere decent anymore. Mm-hmm. So,
is that when you say your friends, is that
close friends?
Close friends,
Close friends. Or even if I was out having a drink, or some people, someday they'd be like, why are you not DJing now? The scene's rubbish, what's happening is nothing for us.
Yeah.
Get back.
For something to happen in the afternoon, or?
No, not in general, it's by fluke, But this whole, when I hear people saying this afternoon thing, that used to happen back in the day.
Yeah.
So it's not new, I mean? I used to go to Panama Jacks where they used to do soul, funk and jazz all days.
Yeah.
So this whoever's going about saying they've created this is talking nonsense.
Yeah. See, if I'm doing this podcast, right, do you know what I find really funny is back in the day, right, there was not only normal time parties, right, but it was daytime, and then there was also night ravers, all night things,
exactly.
Right? It just feels like
it's come full circle.
Or raves that started in the day and went all night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
but it has been recently in the last year
the boom of it,
a boom of daytime parties, right?
So, a few close friends and going about saying to me, why are you not doing something? And I was like, but I'd had the idea in my head for a while and I was just kind of churning, spoke to a few friends about it and said, if anyone can do it, you can do it. So I remember one Sunday afternoon, I was cycling about. I like cycling. And I was in the Barra area of Carlton, and I was like, there's quite a nice vibe about this place, man. It reminds me of Covent Garden and all that, just all the traders and whatever. And then I approached BAad. I spoke to quite a few managers, in BAad, and they were like, oh, let's give it a try, this is a good idea, but nothing happened. And then I spoke to a few other people about it.
Yeah.
And nobody was interested, really.
Say yes now.
They probably would. So then I approached. Then I managed to get to speak to Nori, the owner, Nori Innes.
Yeah.
And he was like to me, he called me in for a meeting and he was like, this is a good idea, I like it, let's give it a chance. And then the first time we done it, I marketed it really heavy. I was like day and night on social media saying, people, I need your support, I'm going to be doing this soul on Sunday in an afternoon type thing. But this is before the boom of daytime. I never even had thought about daytime parties at that time. Another insight, just... I don't know if it's a spiritual thing or whatever. It just happens, and then I put it on. We got 100.
A good time to have it down there as well, because there's a buzz about it.
There's a buzz about that area on a Sunday afternoon, and then we got 176 for the first time. But I was speaking my DJ partner in it, a guy called Marty Gras. He'd been doing work in my house just before COVID, just after COVID, and he was like, every Sunday I like to sit down and, play personal music and be Bluetooth and stuff through Spotify. Maybe the odd occasion I didn't, and he was like, no soul on Sunday today, man. And that's how kind of, and then I came about. So spoke to Nori, he was like, okay, we'll put it on this date, got 170 something, and it's just grown from that. It just went crazy till it sells out months in advance, so I've always had this desire to have a big brand around Scotland, that's the goal, that's another pinnacle to, go to, like where it was with the radio show. Back then. So anything. It's music that I listen to personally. As a kid, the music we played at Soul on Sunday, I was listening to that when I was young. And we just play some club classics. We play some Motown. We play some soul. We play some disco. We play a wee bit of Northern Soul. Do you know something? The strange thing, my knowledge about Northern Soul isn't very good. I'll be honest with you. It's only lately doing Soul on Sunday I'm beginning to. Wasn't a vibe I was really connected to at all. Whereas some people love it. People are mad about it.
But I mean, it was separate from it was its own scene.
Really, yeah, very
tight,
tight. But even back in the day, I used to listen to Rare Groove. Like your Lynn Collins and all that. Your Gene Knight and stuff like that. I'd play, all that kind of stuff. But it's just been taking my breath away. What I like about Soul on Sunday, it's very community orientated. It's like you could go with your family. You go with your mum, your dad, your aunt, and that happened organically. It didn't set out, you didn't set out this is what we want to do. It just happened organically.
I mean, see, when I came down, right, what I loved about it was it appeals to all age groups.
All age groups, 100%.
And it is true to say that there's quite a good proportion of older people, which is right. And I love seeing that, right? Because,
it's great.
Because
Absolutely.
the fact of the matter is, another type of event or place could, I know it can intimidate people of that age to go to because they'll feel out of place and whatnot, right? With the Soul on Sunday, now obviously everyone's welcome anywhere, obviously.
Of course.
But with the Soul on Sunday, it seems like it's a great place for people of all age groups, but older to go to, and just have fun and not feel like
intimidated. You said,
and
feel out of place.
And feel out of place.
See, the one thing Soul on Sunday's taught me is no matter how old you are, you're still allowed to go out and dance.
Aye.
That's one thing it's taught me big time.
People forget, don't they?
People forget that, and I remember there was
I think it's important.
It's very important, very important.
I mean, that's what I was talking about. I was kind of meaning, just with
we
people...
need that escapism.
People not going out, like you get to a certain age and you're like, well, what am I going to do? Sit in and watch the TV? When you can go out to a gig, you can go out to a club, there's daytime stuff, go out, listen to music,
But people, will, for a lot of reasons, may not want to go to a club where they feel like it's full of 18, 19
No,
years old.
absolutely. But
now the younger ones are coming in and they're enjoying it because their parents are playing that music. They played that music when they were kids and they know it, and it was really, really good. And it was just, it took, as I said, it happened organically. It took me by surprise. Never set out to do that. We just wanted to play music. And I thought, if we get 100 people on a Sunday afternoon, that'd be excellent. Some places on a Saturday not even getting those numbers.
For sure.
A Sunday afternoon. It's insane.
What I was saying to you the other night too, right? Just to kind of looking at it in terms of kind of like lighting aspects, right? I think it's interesting, right? I think, see the fact that it's in BAad and it's in the canopy, and it's obviously, it's in daylight, it's in sunlight. I really, from someone who likes doing lighting in dark rooms, right? I really think the venue really suits because
100%.
I feel like the energy that you have for that Soul on Sunday, you kind of want to see everyone and see the vibe, and it kind of, and I noticed people standing. One that was packed in the dance floor, right? But people standing at the sides, right? But getting to see the entire space, and you actually get to see the energy, and I think the space.
It's a nice light in there,
and it's. I think the space.
It's a great space. It's a great space. I said that to Nori. I said, "You've created such a great space. You don't know how good this place is."
Yeah.
And then the base camp boys have taken it over and running it, and they've taken it, to the next level, and it's working well for everyone. But Nori took that chance, and believed in it, and we worked together, and and look at it now, and it's serving the community. There's a woman in particular who runs a stall in the Barras, and she grabbed me one Sunday when we were loading, and she's like, "Can I have a word with you, son?" And all that. I was like, aye. And she was showing me pictures of her family. They've had that spot for generations, but 3-4 generations. And she was like, "What you've done for the Barras is incredible."
Bring people down.
She's like, "Thank you so much."
Yeah, that's Catherine who wins the coat stall.
The four cut stall. Smashing. She was just going to tell me that. And then there's people that have messaged me privately. People when they've been at the event said to me, "What you're doing for Glasgow is amazing. Well done. Keep it up."
It's not just in Glasgow.
Yeah, we're trying to expand it in other areas.
In Scotland.
Yeah.
I think on that note, then we could
wrap up.
Wrap up.
He is satisfied.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Really, thank you very
Paul,
much, Paul.
so much. What a
story.
What a story.
It really was. Amazing.
Thank you so much, guys. That was the Glasgow Clubbing Podcast, episode 7. Big round of applause to Paul Njie. Paul, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Glasgow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scotland.